Mr. Transformers 96 here with another video, and I'm going to talk about some newly shown Marvel Legends figures. This time we have an entire wave, and it's mainly a movie wave. It's the Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness wave, which is very exciting. So the movie, of course, comes out in May. We have the figures here, which the pre-order date for when these are going to release differs from site to site. Amazon, it's April. Hasbro, it's March, and GameStop, it's January, so we'll see. I think that the earliest that we can expect these is to start hitting some places come January, but then I think the main release is going to be March. But let's get into it. So this is very exciting. I'm pretty happy with this wave in general. I think I really enjoy the character selection here. So starting off with, we need a Doctor Strange, of course. However, this one does not come with a Build-A-Figure piece, so if you were inclined to not need this new version of his costume, you could skip this one, no problem, and still complete the Build-A-Figure. However, figure-wise, I think it does look quite nice. I think that the face sculpt looks very good. Might be one of our best, if not the best, face sculpt to date. It still has room for improvement, of course, but I think that it is really solid. The costume itself is quite different in the blue sections. I think that it has more of like a almost like a medieval cross type of design on the chest there, which I think is kind of cool. The necklace piece I wish was freestanding, like they did in the original movie. I like that as a separate piece. That looks like it's just built into the costume. You know, unless it is built into the costume now, that might be the case. But seeing these, I feel like these are straps. This isn't line work, is it? I'm not sure. If it is supposed to be a necklace, I would have liked it to be a separate piece. If it's supposed to be actually ingrained into the suit, then they did it well. The cape there looks quite good. I like the texturing both on the inside and, as you can see, on the back. I think it's very nice. He comes with the kind of accessory shields that he's come with previously. I think these are the exact same ones from the No Way Home wave, because yeah, I think he came with a small and large one, if I'm not mistaken. But overall, comes with a few different hands to represent his kind of magic doing hands, which I think are quite nice, I must say. And again, no Build-A-Figure piece. Alright, then, going right into the Build-A-Figure. So Rintrah, I think is how you say it, I'm not quite sure. So this is a movie Build-A-Figure, which is quite neat. We've had casting of this character before, but we have not seen him actually in this form, even in the trailer. So it's very nice to actually see kind of what the character will look like. This is a nice Build-A-Figure because it's a pretty hefty one, which is great, although not huge, and I'll kind of go over that when we kind of take a look at all the packaging together. I don't think this is going to be a huge Build-A-Figure, but it looks like it's, you know, a bulky Build-A-Figure, and it's a completely new sculpt, of course, which is awesome, and it's also something that's pretty unique. Articulation-wise, looks like it's pretty on par with everything else, however, with the ball joint being at the waist, which is a little unusual, but just looking at his kind of proportions and his design, it makes a lot of sense, and it's completely hidden by the belt, which is very nice. The neck, in the photos, it looks like the head and neck are all one piece, but when you get up close, you can see that that's not the case, that the head is separated, but it, you know, and maybe it's just the photos, but hopefully in person, with the fur, it just kind of hides the joint well, so this looks a little bit more seamless when it comes to the neck, which is cool. And then the feet are that kind of standard bull centaur type of design, which I think does look very cool. Coloring's nice too. Maybe it's a little bit greenish, more greenish than I would have expected, but assuming this is accurate to the movie, of course we don't have a comparison, then I think they did a good job. But yeah, you can kind of see, you can kind of make out where the jawline is, so yeah, it is a separate piece, so you will get good articulation neck-wise. Then we have Wong. I think this is an overdue figure. Very happy to get Wong. Face sculpt is great. I really think that they nailed that head sculpt. I see nothing wrong with it. I'm pretty impressed with that. I hope it looks as good in person as it does in these photos, because that's impressive as hell. My big complaint with this figure is the neck. The neck is too long. His head's sitting up a little bit too high, in my opinion. I wish that the neck was shortened. And then when it comes to the costume looks very colorful. You do see Wong in the trailer, but I can't quite make out if this is accurate or not. I love the design work here, though. I think that looks nice. I think that the you know, almost pinkish purple mixed in with lighter kind of bluish purples, and then the bright yellow just really pops, and not in a great way, to be honest. So this could certainly be accurate, but I'm not loving the suit in general. And if it's not accurate, then not loving the figure. But overall, that head sculpt's great, and it's a character that we've needed for a long time, so good on them for finally doing it. And then he comes with some nice accessories, as you can see. Let's get the accessory shot here. Yeah, so he comes with those blast effects, just like Steven. He comes with a hand for holding the sword, and then this really cool new sword, which hopefully he utilizes a decent amount in this new movie. We see him kind of suit up for war in the in both Endgame and the first Doctor Strange, but we actually don't see him fight at all in those movies with like an actual weapon, you know. So I think that maybe this is the time that we will. Then moving on, once we get some more of these shots, we have an Astral Doctor Strange. This one's disappointing to me. If I'm not mistaken, this is your standard Doctor Strange body. I think it's the same one from the original movie. I'd have to do a really solid comparison, but just the costume design is very similar, if not the same. So I think that this is mainly just kind of a redo. They already did an astral projection. This one is undoubtedly better. You know, I'm definitely not going to say that there's no upgrade here. I like this one a lot. You do have a little bit more of the skin tone, but it's kind of like a pale, almost corpse look. And then the costume itself is what's translucent, which I think is quite nice. So it's a good update, don't get me wrong, but I don't need another astral projection. The astral projection was kind of fun to get from the first movie, but not something I even needed there. So this version, again, don't need, but unfortunately this one has the Build-A-Figure piece. I want the new Doctor Strange, but I don't want this one, so I would have loved these to be switched and had this one not come with the Build-A-Figure piece, because I would have skipped this one, but unfortunately, since he comes with the Build-A-Figure piece, and arguably the most important one, I do have to get it. The one thing that that I'm really liking when it comes to this figure is this accessory, this genie lamp. I think that looks really cool. It's got a translucent look as well. I'm wondering what will be the deal here. Since this is a multiverse movie, maybe he meets a Doctor Strange maybe this isn't an astral Doctor Strange, maybe this is a genie Doctor Strange. That would be kind of interesting. That would make me like the figure more. Maybe he does actually encounter Genie, or what I'm guessing is going to be the case, and I could be completely wrong, but I'm guessing that this is more of a joke, that he's with somebody who is kind of unaware of what the astral projection type of thing is, and he's like maybe standing there in his astral projection form next to a lamp, and they think he's a genie, you know, like that would be my guess, and that's kind of your standard kind of MCU humor. So that's my guess, but nonetheless, I like that accessory. So that's one good thing about getting that figure, I think. Then we have America Chavez. This is a new character from the film. Figure-wise, she looks pretty decent. I like the shoes. I think the sneaker design is very cool, although the ankles are a bit thin compared to the shoe. Wish that they bulked up the ankles a little bit so it looked all like one piece, like one shoe, because right now it doesn't quite look like that. The jacket looks nice, and I like the printing on it. It looks like it's got that kind of faded American stripes on the top there, which I think is very cool. Head sculpt wise looks decent. The hair I think could use some sort of a wash or something to give it more depth. It looks very flat the way it is right now. And you know, your standard articulation, of course. She comes with the largest Build-A-Figure piece being the torso. This is a very small figure, though, and this is a body sculpt that they've used previously. For the most part, there are some new design pieces here. I think that the torso from the waist up is new. But she is on the very small end of Marvel Legends figures, and this torso, you know, looks decent next to her, but because she's of small Marvel Legends, I don't think this is a massive Build-A-Figure here. I think he's definitely bigger than your average character, but not by a ton. And there she is packaged. Then we have Mordo, or in this case, they're listing him as Master Morto. So this is a character that we've received in the previously. However, this is a major update. Obviously, Mordo is now kind of a villain in this film. I'm not 100% sure who the main villain of this film is. I think that there's a ton. There's like that, the alien with the eye. There's Mordo here. There's possibly an evil Doctor Strange, and then there's also possibly a Wanda going evil too. So who knows who the true main villain is? I'm hoping for Wanda, but nonetheless, I'm very excited to finally see Mordo again. It feels like it's been a long time, because although it's been 5 years since the last Doctor Strange movie, we've seen all of his characters appear in other films except for Mordo. So it feels like it's been a long time for him. This looks like a nicely updated figure though. Head sculpt's good, not fantastic, no wand level here, but it's still good. But the costume design is really nice. It's all a new sculpt. It has a lot of good detail in it, and overall, I like the new design for him in general, not just figure-wise, but just costume-wise for the film. I think that he's got a major update, or a major upgrade, while Wand's got a downgrade when it comes to costume-wise. Oh, that's interesting. I doubt this means anything, but there is, this is not a spoiler for the movie at all, because nothing happens with it, but there is a crossbow like this in Doctor Strange's Sanctorum, so maybe it's the same one, I doubt it, but it's just something I kind of noticed while looking at this figure. Overall, though, I think really nice looking figure, and just a great update on the design of the costume. So now we've got a couple of comic figures. This is kind of how I like my waves. I like my waves majority movie with a couple comic ones. Here we have Sleepwalker. Not terribly familiar with this character. Figure-wise, he looks good, although it is, your standard kind of body. The body is exactly standard. The arms down here are the same. The forearms look like they're different just because of this piece kind of hanging off. And then the boots are different. New head sculpt, of course, but the cape is reused from Hobgoblin, and then the body up until the gloves and boots are all just your standard thing here. So not a ton different with this one. I like the alien type of look for the face. I think that looks very cool. And then the coloring, I don't know how much I love it. I like that he's got one bare arm, one clothed arm, but the neon, like yellowish green up against the pink purple, and then the dark blue, I'm not loving that color arrangement. Nonetheless, I think this looks like a decent figure. If you're a fan of this kind of niche character, I think that you'll really enjoy this one, though. And then we have Despair. This was the figure that was the only figure of this wave shown previously, because they gave us a couple of different types of characters that they would show, and we all voted, and we voted for a new villain never made in figure form before, and that's what this one is. Again, very standard. The entire body up, the hands look like they're Morbius's hands, so I think that they even reused these hands, but the entire body and the whole sculpt is completely reused. It's your standard thing. Even this design is all just painted, as you can see. What's new is the cape, which the cape is cool. It's got the tethered look, nice texture on the inside, and then of course a new head sculpt. So very basic when it comes to this. This is obviously how they can kind of afford some of the other completely new sculpted figures in the wave. So, it's disappointing, but it's understandable. And then lastly here, we have a figure that is a part of this movie series, however, not a part of the wave itself. This is a Target exclusive and a deluxe. And this is the Defender Strange, is what they're calling it. This, I assume, and I might be wrong, but I assume this is the villain Doctor Strange, as seen in the trailer. However, when we see that kind of villain Doctor Strange, he is not wearing this costume. So I would imagine that he changes his costume, unless this is a different character. That is possible. Nonetheless, this is a really cool looking figure. I think that the costume itself looks awesome. Totally new sculpt from what I can tell. And I think that the head sculpt looks very cool too. If this is the evil Doctor Strange, I would like a little bit more of an evil head sculpt. This one, just a little blank. But overall, I think that it's a nice sculpt. Having the portal that he comes through is awesome. I think that's great for figure photography. Those portals are used in the MCU constantly nowadays. It's just the way to get characters from places to places. So it's really nice to get a figure representation of that and a plastic form. It's not like a cheap cardboard thing that they're including on a regular figure or something like that. No, you got to pay extra for it, of course, as it's a deluxe, but you do get an accessory that I really like overall. And as you can see, see, especially in the kind of package shot, it has a translucent look. It looks like it's got yellow paint over a translucent base, which I think is quite nice. Accessory-wise, he's a little light, though. For a deluxe, you know, I get having this guy as a deluxe because of that back piece, but how about you throw in a couple extra magical accessories on the corners here? I think that would have sealed the deal and made this completely worth the $30 price range, because right now it's like you 20 for the figure, and the figure's very basic, no Build-A-Figure piece, of course, and then 10 for this, so, you know, I think a couple extra accessories would have kind of sealed the deal. Overall, though, looking like a nice figure. So in total, and just, you know, quickly looking at the Build-A-Figure pieces, if you actually look at it, I think that the Build-A-Figure is going to be smaller than you might have thought when you first saw just the image of the Build-A-Figure by himself. I imagine something quite big, but looking at the pieces here, I think that he's going to be taller than your average figure, but not by a whole ton, and you know, he's got some bulk to him, of course, but he's nothing like some of the other bulkier Build-A-Figures that we've received. So overall, I'm not complaining. I'm glad that he's the Build-A-Figure. I love getting movie Build-A-Figures because I feel like it doesn't happen often, and when it does happen, it's usually super disappointing because it's either a standard figure like Gilgamesh or Mantis, or it's something that should not be a Build-A-Figure like the wings for Vulture or Falcon. So to get a true movie Build-A-Figure that's a new sculpt, it's an actual character, and it's not just a figure that should be packaged in the wave, I'm happy, so I can't complain. There you go, that's my thoughts on the new Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness Marvel Legends Wave. Let me know what you guys think of it, and thanks so much for watching.